Hi, this is Usha. Welcome to Rathod's IAS classes. Today in this lecture, we are going to discuss current affairs of 13th January 2022. In this lecture, we are going to discuss 6 topics which are very much relevant from our UPSC point of view. So let's get started with our discussion and let us have a brief overview regarding the topics that we are going to discuss in this lecture. So first topic, it is about a quest for social consensus against hate speech. So already in yesterday's lecture we had studied some brief background regarding this hate speech, and now we are going to see what are the lacking, so why we are not able to deal with this hate speech. And in news we can see hate speech will be there here and there. Okay, so what are the one of the important thing that we need to know here is what are the some legal lacunae we can see in this hate speech that you need to know here. And this topic is important from your polity point of view, which mainly comes under GS paper 2. And next topic, it is about Act now recasts the selection process of this ECIs, Election Commission of India. So actually what happened, this Election Commission of India, it is highly in news because recently election commissioners, they attended one informal meeting. So because of this is in news and we need to know that topic in a very great detail. So this will be again important from our polity, which mainly comes in the GS paper 2. And this topic will be exclusively important from your mains. And next topic, it is about reaping India's demographic dividend. So you need to know what is this demographic dividend. Demographic dividend means the working age people from the 15 years to 59 years. Okay, so this is called as demographic dividend. So whenever more working people are present compared to that of dependents, who will be the dependents? Dependents will be less than 14 years, they will be children, and more than 15 years, they will be coming under old age people. So these two people, that is the dependents or less when we are compared to for this working group population, then that condition is called as demographic dividend. So this is very important regarding economy, which mainly comes in the GS paper 3. And next topic, it is about global warming. There is one infographic in page number 7 which is mainly saying about this global warming. So we need to see that infographic once. And next topic, it is about retail inflation. So already you know that what is inflation because number of times we discussed about this topic, and even 2021 prelims there were 2 questions regarding this inflation. And this topic is important from your economy, which mainly comes under GS paper 3. And next topic, it is about textile exports. Textile exports rose 41% in April to December. And this topic is important again from our economy, which mainly comes under GS paper 3. So these are 6 topics. Now we are going to have our discussion. So first topic, it is about hate speech, right? A quest for social consensus. Okay, a quest for social consensus against hate speech. Actually, this topic is important from our polity, which mainly comes under GS paper 2, and this will be important from your mains. So now let us try to see each and every point in a detail. So why this hate speech is in news? Because of Haridwar Dham Sansad. So in that religious meeting here, so there was some speeches which are mainly given, and that mainly incited violence against Muslims, and also they made some statements regarding this Rohingyas, right? So because of this hate speech is in news. So now let us try to understand what is the context and what are the strengths, and as well as what are the key problems and what is the need. So if you see here, hate speech, why it is in news? On January 12, 2022, Supreme Court of India agreed to hear petitions asking for legal action to be taken against organizers of and speakers at this Haridwar Dham Samsad, which mainly held in Uttarakhand. So recently in Uttarakhand, one religious meeting mainly held. So name here is Haridwar Dharma Samsad. So in this religious congregation or religious meeting, so some speakers mainly they gave some speeches. Okay, and because of these speeches that led to open calls to violence, to economic and social boycott of Muslims, and they also made some statements regarding these Rohingyas. These were Muslim minority people, okay, who mainly fled from this Myanmar. And if you're talking about some important things, why Supreme Court is going to hear these petitions, because what is a one important concern here is, after this event there were no arrest had been made till now. So because of this, so this Supreme Court want to hear this case. Okay, and meanwhile, in the aftermath of similar Dharma Sansar in Chhattisgarh, state police they arrested Kali Charan Maharaj, who had accused Gandhi of destroying India, and he praised this Nathuram Godse for assassinating him. Already you know that in Mahatma Gandhi, he played an important role in our freedom struggle. But the one mistake which mainly done by Mahatma Gandhi he didn't say anything regarding the partition of India and Pakistan. So this is the one thing, this thing which mainly focused by this Kali Charan Maharaj, and he said that Nathuram Godse, who mainly assassinated this Mahatma Gandhi, and he mainly praised this Nathuram Godse. So because of this, it is against our Indian freedom struggle, and as well as it is against I can say like Indian security as well. So because of this, so this person Kali Charan, after this Dharma Sansar in Chhattisgarh, so here this person mainly arrested by this state police officer. But here in this context of this Uttarakhand Dharma Sansar, so till now no one had been arrested. So it is one cause of concern. And if you're talking about what is a deeper problem here is, so there is no proper legal and social consensus around what constitutes this hate speech. So in yesterday's lecture we studied about what is this hate speech meaning according to Law Commission, according to some reports. But as of now there is no standard definition or standard legal and social consensus regarding what will comes under this hate speech. So this is the second cause of concern. So if we are talking about strength and entrenches, so however there are a range of many cases, many of them they were forefront in this Haridwar Dharma Sansar. So they are mainly showing some difficult problems here. So not only for the first time we have this Haridwar Dharma Sansar, but even before this also there are number of cases which are recorded because of this hate speech. So hate speech mainly works in more insidious way, creating a climate, and this climate which mainly strengthens prejudices and as well as entrenches already existing discrimination in the society. So if you are focusing on case studies like in USA most societies mainly define this hate speech in the terms of both inciting violence, and even they will also take into consideration that is discrimination. Okay, so this is about USA. And if you are talking about what are the key problems, so key problems here is no proper laws. Already if there are some laws, they are having some lacunae. So our laws, they mainly stand unequipped. Okay, they are unequipped to deal with the challenges of hate speech. Okay, so they are unequipped to deal with the challenges of hate speech, and laws commonly invoked in such are section 295 8 is regarding blasphemy. So this blasphemy also recently in news regarding of Pakistan. Okay, and next one is section 153A of IPC. It is mainly talking about creating of enmity between the caste and as well as people. So these laws are unequipped to deal with the challenges of this hate speech. Even though we are having these sections, right, they are not equipped. And second problem is that hate speech itself. Hate speech by its very nature, it will not always triumph itself to be hate speech. And they are also having some exemptions as well that will not come under this hate speech. So this is a one more second problem. And third problem here it is more difficult and intractable. Okay, so it is more difficult and intractable, as we have seen above that no matter how precise and how definite we try to make our concept of hate speech, it will inevitably reflect individual judgment. Okay, so third problem here is it is a most difficult and as well as it is intractable as well, because there is no matter how precise and how definite we try to make our concept of hate speech, but it will be also reflecting the individual judgment. So even though hate speech which is mainly delivered means, so maybe it might cause violence in some people, but in some people, so it is mainly depend upon their judgment, how they are judging. And in this context, what is the need? Need here is we need social consensus. Okay, we need social consensus. Social consensus which mainly allows us to discount what about and also distinguish the cases of hate speech from other forms of confrontational and as well as agitational speech, and that mainly often comes from marginalized class of society. Okay, and this is the thing. So we need social consensus, and apart from this we need also legal implementation. We need consistent legal implementation. Okay, so this is the gist of this topic. And now let us try to see next topic. It is regarding ECs, election commissions. Okay, so Act now recast the selection process of ECs. So this article mainly talking about recent issue regarding election commissioners who attended informal meeting. And this article, it is also important from our polity point of view, which mainly comes under GS paper 2 and exclusively important from your mains. So what are the important points that are relevant from this article from UPSC point of view? We are going to extract them. So now let us try to understand concept. Okay, context here is chief election commissioners and 2 election commissioners. They were mainly summoned by Prime Minister office and they attended a meeting with Principal Secretary to Prime Minister. Okay, so they attend the meeting for this with this Principal Secretary to Prime Minister. So this is one of important cause of concern. So now let us try to understand why this meeting raises questions. Why the meeting raises the questions? If you're talking about this PMO, Prime Minister office, mainly summoning or inviting not just Chief Election Commissioner but also full bench. Okay, so here Chief Election Commissioner plus 2 election commissioners they invited. So because of this, it is a violation of Constitution irrespective of how important the issue is. So irrespective of how important the urgent issue is, here calling the full bench, it is a violation of the Constitution, and it mainly violates the principle of distancing from executive, because we are having 3 organs in our state, that is executive, legislature and judiciary. So each and every organ which have to maintain a separate distance, and there will be checks and balances as well. So if we are talking about this Election Commission of India, it is an independent body. So here it need to maintain some distance from the executive, because whenever we want to go for free and fair elections, it is one of the basic structure of Indian Constitution. So whenever we want to go for free and fair elections, so here executive should have less influence on this Election Commission of India. But here election commissions who are going for this informal meetings of this Prime Minister's office means it mainly raises the question whether we are going to have this fair and fair elections or not. Right, an executive could appoint a person to those posts, could not order them or remove them because of constitutional scheme of things. And what is this point says? Already you know that election of these election commissioners, chief election commissioners, that will be done by executive, but they do not have the power to remove because of constitutional scheme of the things. And it is also leading to violation of independence. And independent ECI, it is a gift of the Constitution to the nation. And here free and fair elections, they are one important free functions of this election commission, right? And next one is Supreme Court has repeatedly stressed that this point, like calling it as a part of basic structure of Indian Constitution. As I said, free and fair elections, it is one of the basic structure of the Constitution. So to ensure this basic structure of Constitution, here we need to maintain a distance from this executive. And it is also violation of this warrant of precedence, that is Chief Election Commissioner is very high in the warrant precedence, that is 9th. And if you are talking about this personal secretary to Prime Minister, he will be in the 23rd place. And now let us try to see how independence of this election commission is ensured by our Constitution. So if you are talking about how election commission is ensured independence, here is the first one is election commission, it is a constitutional body. Okay, election commission, it is a constitutional body whose responsibilities and powers, they are prescribed by Constitution of India under Article 324 of Indian Constitution. Under Article 324, already we know that this election commission, it is a constitutional body. So election commission is insulated from this executive interference. It is the commission which mainly decides the election schedules. Okay, so this election commission of India ECI which also decides the election schedules for conduction of elections, whether they need to go for by-elections or general elections like that. And even it mainly decides the locations of these polling stations, and even it go for assignment of voters to polling stations, and also location of counting centers and arrangement to be made in and around polling stations, and even counting centers, and even allied matters as well. So if you're talking about communication between this election commission and the government, so election commission's communication with the government on election matters, it is mainly through the bureaucracy. It is mainly done through this bureaucracy, either by administrative ministry, or by the law ministry, or by the home ministry, or even by the deployment of security forces during these elections. So in this way, communication between this EC and government will be maintained. In such cases, whenever the Home Secretary is often invited in front of full members, where the 3 commissioners are also present here. And next one is Law Ministry mainly spells out fine print on law for the country and is expected not to breach this constitutional safeguard. So at that time here, whenever they are communicating, they mainly says that they should not breach this constitutional safeguard, okay, and they need to maintain this autonomy. So this is just of this topic. And now let us try to see next topic. It is regarding India's demographic dividend. Reaping India's demographic dividend. So this article, it is very important from our economy point of view, which mainly comes under GS paper 3. So first of all, you need to know about what is this demographic dividend. Okay, so I will give you some examples, some homework for you people. So let me know what is this demographic dividend, what will be the advantage of this demographic dividend, and what are the challenges we are facing, because this topic, it is at most important and it is a burning issue. So if you're talking about what author want to say, in introduction, author mainly said like, a nation's growth which mainly requires productive contribution of all segments of society, for example children, youth, etc. Okay, so for any country to become developed country means there is a need of contribution from different segments of society, like even children and as well as youth. So if we're talking about households and national investments in children and youth yield long-term returns in terms of high productivity of economically active population till they enter this elderly cohort. So this article mainly says that we need to go for investing in the households and as well as national investments, and this investment should be made on children and as well as youth. And finally, these children and these youth, they will bring the long-term returns in the terms of high productivity of economically active population for a longer run. And if you're talking about fertility decline, so whenever the fertility is declining, so recently National Family Health Survey 5 said that fertility rate from 2.8 is mainly decreased to 2.0. That means women in this reproductive age, they are going to have 2 children, not more than 2 children. That means we can say there is a fertility decreasing that is happening. So because of this fertility declining, so the share of young population mainly falls. So the share of young population mainly falls than compared to that of older and as well as other dependent rises. Okay. So what happened because of this fertility which is decreasing means we can see there is a decreasing of younger population, and on another side older population will be going to be rise. So if fertility decline is rapid means there is increasing of working age is substantially yielding this demographic dividend. For example, if you see this TFR which is mainly decreasing now means we can say at present whatever the working group people they are present, that means they are working. So because of this increasing of working ages, we can see there is a demographic dividend. And if you are talking about similar share of children in the population, which also enables higher investment per child. So for example, if I have 3 children, okay, for example, if I have 3 children, when I want to invest on those 3 children means it is not affordable for me. But if I have 2 children or 1 children means I can go for spending a lot. That means I can make higher investment per child. Okay, so the smaller share of children in the population which mainly enables higher investment per child. So because of this, the future entrants in this labor force that can have better productivity. So whenever we are increasing higher investment on our childs, so in future we can see there will be better productivity, and as well as it will also boost the income of that so and so a family and children. So without proper policies and without increasing the working age population, that will also leads to rising of unemployment. So because of rising of unemployment, that will leads to economic and as well as social risk as well. Okay, so because of this, we need forward looking policies, and we need to incorporate population dynamics, education, skills, healthcare, gender sensitivity, and we need to provide the rights and as well as choices to younger population as well. So with this fertility rate, now currently it is 2.0. So there is a rising of median age, that is from 24 years, rising of median age from 24 years in 2011 and 29 years by 2036. Okay, and we can see that the dependency ratio, that is decreasing from 65% to 54%. That means we can see there is a working age people of 15 to 59 years are growing. So because of this, we can say India, it is middle of this demographic transition. So in this context, to mainly utilize those demographic transition, we need to come up with this forward looking policies. So there are 7 to 8 important policies that we can come up. So first one here is we need to update our national transfer accounts NTA assessment. So what is this NTA? NTA methodologies are mainly using by Lee and Chen and Mr. Narayana. They mainly found out that India's per capita consumption pattern is way lower than compared to that of Asian countries. So if we are talking about consumption patterns in India, it is very much low when we are comparing with other Asian countries as well. And if you see the child, if you see the child in India, who mainly consumes around 60% of consumption by an adult aged between 22 to 64. So how much consumption which is mainly done between these 20 to 64 years? So just children, they are consuming 60% of that, but China consumes 85%. So because of this, we need to update this NTA data, and we need to progress. We need to capture the progress which mainly made on the investments since 2011 and 2012. And second one is we need to invest more in children and as well as adolescents, because India is also ranking very poor in Asia in terms of private and public health spending. And we need to invest more in the children and as well as adolescents, particularly nutrition, learning during this early childhood, etc. And next one is we need to make some health investments. Okay, we need to make some health investments. Health spending has not kept pace with India's economic growth. Okay, so we need to make some health investments as well. So as of now, public spending in health, it is very low, that is about 1% of GDP. So we need to increase the spending. And next one is we need to make reproductive health care services accessible on a rights based approach. So we need to make reproductive health care services, and we need to provide universal access to high quality primary education and even basic health care. And next one is education is very important, and we need to bridge gender differentials in education as well. Because if you see here, here boys are mainly likely to be enrolled in the second and as well as tertiary education, but not girls. So here we need to decrease this gender gap as well. And next one is India needs to increase female workforce participation in the economy. So we need to focus on this, how to increase this female workforce participation as well. Okay, and next one is India needs to address diversity between the states. While India is a young country, the status and as well as pace of population aging is very among states here, because southern states, they already came up with this demographic transition. Okay, already we can see higher percentage of older people in southern India but not in northern India. So we need to address this diversity as well. And next one is a new federal approach, okay, regarding governance reforms, and we need to come up with the policy coordination between the states and as well as center. And we need to address the issues like migration, aging, skilling, female workforce participation, urbanization, etc. Okay, so we need to come up with a proper strategic planning, investment, monitoring, and as well as course correction as well. Okay, so this is the gist of this topic. And now let us try to see this infographic. So the title here is World is Heating Up. World is heating up. So this article mainly talking about global warming. So if you see this image, you can see that So there is increasing of temperature. So global surface air temperature is increasing here. So this map which mainly shows about especially air temperature at a height of 2 meters. At a height of 2 meters for this 2021, which related to this 1991 to 2020 average here. So temperature, if you are comparing with the last 30 years, they were close to 0.9 degrees centigrade above this pre-industrial level. Above this pre-industrial level, now this surface temperature is just at 0.9 degrees centigrade high. Okay, so this temperature is at a height of 2 meters. Okay, and this is the map here, and if you see this thing here, this mainly says that annual findings of European Union Copernicus climate change services, which showed that globally in this 2021 it was among the 7th warmest record. So this is the 7th warmest record, and the first 5 months of the year saw relatively low temperature. Okay, so first 5 months we saw this relatively low temperature compared to the recent very warm years. But however, from June until October, monthly temperatures were consistently at least amongst the 4th warmest. Okay, first 5 months we saw that low temperature, but later on next 4 months there is increasing of temperature, and we can see the moreover the last 7 years globally were the 7 warmest on the record by a clear margin. With these 7 years, okay, with these 7 years there is increasing of temperature. Okay, so this is the thing which mainly said. So why there is increasing of temperature? Because of increasing of carbon dioxide emissions, right? So if you see here, getting hotter and hotter. So this graph, so if you see this graph, it mainly shows that annual averages of global air temperature estimated to change when we are comparing with that of pre-industrial levels. So pre-industrial levels it was 0.3, and now it is around 0. Okay, now it is around 1.2, 1.1 degree centigrade here. So if you are comparing with pre-industrial level, that is from 1850s to 1900, now there is increasing of annual average temperature of 1.1 degrees and to 1.2 degrees centigrade. And if you are talking about this carbon dioxide levels, so that there is a trend of steady rising of this carbon dioxide concentrations, and there is increasing of this carbon dioxide concentration that is continued in this 2021 as well. So because of this, we can say there is also increasing of global temperature. So this is the graph. You can see there is a constant increasing of this carbon dioxide emissions. And now let us try to see next topic. It is regarding retail inflation accelerates to 5.59%. So here you need to know about inflation. So already we discussed this inflation number of times, and we already discussed about different types of inflation, what are the causes, what will be the impact. So it is the time for you to revise those topics. And now let us try to see this topic in a very great detail. So if you see context, it mainly says that retail inflation quickened to 5.59% in December. In December, it mainly increased to 5.59% due to an uptick in food prices because of increasing of food prices. Okay, and if you see India's industrial output, which mainly grew by 1.4% in month of November 2021. So this data which is mainly released by this NSO, that is National Statistical Office. So this National Statistical Office mainly says that there is increasing of retail inflation to 5.59% in December because of uptick in the food prices. So if we are talking about details, it mainly says that the inflation based on this consumer price index CPI, when we are comparing with this 4.91%, which mainly seen as a month earlier, and 4.59% in December 2020. So the inflation which is mainly based on this consumer price index, which is mainly seen like which mainly increased. Okay, so if you are comparing with 2020 December, it was 4.59%, and now it is 4.91% in the last month, and in this month it is like 5.59%. And consumer food price inflation which also accelerated to 4.05% in December, and it was like 1.87% in November 2021. So now let us try to see some facts regarding this inflation. So inflation mainly refers to the rise of prices of most of the goods and services of daily and common use, for example food, for example clothing, housing, recreation, transport, consumer staples, etc. So it is called as inflation. Whenever there is a general rise of prices in the market of goods and services, so this condition is called as inflation. So this inflation, which mainly measures average price change in the basket of commodities and services over time. So it is mainly measuring about average price change in the basket of commodities and services over time. And this inflation is one of the indicator of decrease in the purchasing power. That means, for example, if I have earlier 100 rupees, I used to buy 10 apples. But whenever there is increasing of price of apples with 20 rupees, okay, one apple is called 20 rupees, means with this 100 rupees, I can purchase only 5 apples. If I want to purchase 10 apples, means I need to invest 200 rupees. So because of this, what happened? Because of this inflation, that will mainly leads to decreasing of purchasing power. Okay, and this data will be released by NSO, National Statistical Office, which mainly comes under Ministry of Statistics and Program Implementation, that is MOSP in short. So inflation is primarily measured in two indices, that is WPI and CPI. WPI, it is wholesale price index, and CPI is consumer price index. And now let us try to see next topic is regarding textile exports rose 41% in April-December. Okay, April to December, here there is increasing of textile exports. So this article, it is important regarding economy, and this is important from our GS paper 3 again. So now let us try to see this topic in a very great detail. First, let us try to see context. If you see context, it mainly says that textile exports grew 41% during April-December 2021. During April-December 2021, there is increasing of textile exports of 41%. And if you see details, it mainly says that a press note which is mainly released by this Ministry of Textiles, which mainly said that 2020-2021 fiscal, which mainly we saw there is deceleration. We saw deceleration in this textile exports as the pandemic had disrupted supply chain and demand. So because of this disruption of the supply chain and as well as demand in the market, that mainly led to deceleration. We saw there is decreasing of our exports of this textiles especially. And but in this 2021 to 2022 financial year, which mainly showing some signs of recovery. And during this period between April to December 2021, the total exports of textiles, apparels, handcrafts, and they are worth of about $29.8 billions compared with this $21.2 billions when we are comparing with the same period with the previous year. That is, when we are comparing with 2020 April December and 2021 April December, in 2020 there was exports of like $21.2 billion, but now it is $29.8 billion. Okay, so this is about this topic. And now let's try to see some facts regarding this textiles and garment industry. So if we're talking about this textiles and garment industry, it is a labor intensive sector. Okay, so textile and garment industry, it is a labor intensive sector, and this sector mainly employs 45 million people in India. Okay, so this is one of the important sector because it is mainly providing employment for about 45 million people in India, and it is second only to the agriculture sector. So first sector which is providing large rate of employment here is agriculture, and the second here is, so first is agriculture and second here is textile sector. And India's textile sector, it is one of the oldest industries in Indian economy, and India, it is one of the storehouse of traditional skills and heritage and as well as culture regarding these textiles. And it can be divided into two segments. First one is we will be having an organized sector and as well as organized sector. So in organized sector, we will be having a small domestic, and we are using some traditional tools and methods regarding handlooms, handicrafts, sericulture, etc. But here in this organized sector, we use mainly modern machinery and techniques and consist of spinning, apparel and garment segment as well. So this is gist of this topic, and I hope it is very much clear. Now let us try to see explanation part for the yesterday's questions. Before that, I want to make a small announcement on this platform. If you want to clear UPSC, so we launched this prelims test series and as well as mains answer writing course. And apart from this, we also providing foundational course for GS. And also, if you want to take individual courses, you can take this individual courses. So this prelims test series is very important to know where you stand and whether you are going in a right approach or not. And this mains answer writing is very important to get command on answer writing. Answer writing plays an important role because it will decide whether your name should be there in final list or not. And next one is foundational course. In this course, we are providing more than 700 hours of recorded video lectures. And in this course, we are mainly focusing on this conceptual clarity, because if you are talking about recent trends of UPSC, they shifted from asking from this fact-based questions towards analysis-based questions. So to answer those analysis-based questions, so conceptual clarity is very important. Apart from that, if you want to take some individual courses like economy, history, geography, science and technology, environment and ecology, disaster management, so you can take those individual courses as well. So details of this course are given in description box. Please see once, and if you want to watch demo videos, you can also watch those demo videos. So apart from that, if you want to talk to me directly regarding these courses, you can call to this number 8074765513. Okay. So now let's come back and let us see the explanation part. So first question is about Terai region. Terai region of northern plains supports luxurious growth of natural vegetation and varied wildlife population. This is because, so first option is the re-emerging of rivers from the bubble flows in undermarketed channels, here creating marshy and swampy conditions. Second one is all fertile coarse load is deposited. Actually, it is not coarse load, it is a fine load which is mainly deposited. So here you can eliminate this statement. And this one is Terai region is crossed by the large Himalayan rivers which regularly deposit silt and clay here. So as I said, it is a fine deposit, that is silt and as well as clay. So this statement is absolutely correct, and first statement is also absolutely correct. So if you see this image, you can easily understand here. So here we have this Himalayas, and the foothills of Himalayas we are having this bubba. So what is this bubba means? Whenever the rivers are moving here, okay, whenever the rivers are moving here, it will cause some erosion. So whenever it is causing some erosions, because of this high velocity of this rivers which are moving there, so they will be bringing the sediments and they will be depositing sediments. So those sediments will be deposited like that, means here the coarse material will be deposited first, and these fine particles will be carried and they will be deposited. So this coarse material that is deposited is called as bubba, not terai. And here, and we are having the clay silt that is present here. We can see this is Terai region, and here whenever this coarse material, that is bubba, is seen, means water will be going into this, and here again the rivers which will be re-emerged in this Terai region. Okay, so correct option for this answer here is 4, 1 and 3. Okay, and now let us try to see next question. It is regarding, consider the following statements about Western and Eastern Ghats. Okay, so here we have our Western Ghats, here we have our Eastern Ghats. Okay, so Western Ghats are comparatively higher in elevation than compared to that of Eastern Ghats. Yes, of course, it is a correct statement. And next one is Western Ghats are continuous, and Eastern Ghats as the later were eroded by several east flowing rivers. So we will be having several east flowing rivers like River Krishna, River Godavari, River Kaveri, and here also we can see many rivers. So here because of this there is erosion that is mainly seen here. So because of the slope that is mainly seen here. So here the western slope, and here it is the eastern part. So the slope will be like this. So here most of the rivers which are originated in this Western Ghats, they will be flowing towards east, and finally they will drain in this Bay of Bengal. So this second statement is also absolutely correct. And next one is the Eastern and Western Ghats, they meet each other at Nilgiri Hills. So this important fact that you need to know. So correct option here is all the above. 4 is correct answer. And next one is, consider the following statements with regard to Western Coastal Plain. Again we have to draw a diagram. So here we have Western Ghats, and here this is our Western Coastal part, right? So Western Coastal Plains which mainly provides natural condition for development of ports and harbors. As you all know, this Western coast, it is a submerged coast. Okay, the submerged coast. So because of this, here it will provide a good condition for development of natural ports and as well as harbor. But here if you are talking about this eastern coast, we will be having emergent coast. So because of this, we will go for artificial harbors in this eastern coast. And next one is the rivers which are mainly flowing through this Western Coastal Plains, they do not form deltas. Yes, this statement is absolutely correct. They will form estuaries rather than deltas. Deltas mainly seen in this eastern coast. So these two statements are absolutely correct. So So correct option is both 1 and 2. So this is the explanation part for yesterday's questions. And now let us try to see today's questions. So first one is regarding rivers. Consider the following rivers: Krishna, Kaveri, Godavari, Penganga, and arrange them from south to north. It is south, it is north, right? So from south to north we need to arrange those rivers. So please open your atlas and locate where are these rivers are present and try to arrange them from north to south. So this type of questions that you can see in your UPSC prelims. And second one is given are the Indian rivers and corresponding national parks. So this type of questions that you can expect. So here Lohit River, Orong National Park, Chambal River, Rajaji National Park, Narmada, Kanha National Park. So you have to identify the correct match. And next one is which of the following rivers not pass through Tropic of Cancer. So this type of questions that you can see from your map related questions. So please try to open atlas and see and locate. So where is the Sabarmati, Mahi, Damodar, Luni is present, and try to locate whether they are mainly passing through this Tropic of Cancer or not. And let me know which of the states where is this Tropic of Cancer that is mainly passing in India. Okay, so this is second homework. So try to open your atlas and try to find the answers for these questions and try to comment in comment box. Don't forget about this. So by this I am concluding today. I hope you enjoyed this lecture. Please subscribe to Rathod's IAS Academy and don't forget to like, share and comment my videos. Okay, and try to enroll the courses which I explained you, and the details are given in description box. And if you want to download this Rathod's IAS app, link is given in description box, you can download. Okay, and if you want to call to me, you can call to me and the number is also given in description box. So by this I am concluding. Thank you so much.